From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls, and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance of West resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables that we set. To form the Deanest Nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in the sky. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage to reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that the boys prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, this is and you are Under the Groove. Welcome everybody to Under the Groove podcast. Hopefully it's an enjoyable Wednesday so far, so good. You know, if you're here, man, it's because all right, sorry about that. Yeah, it's because you want to grab something. It's something that we want to put in your hand, man. You can walk away with, share with somebody else. You know how we do, man. We up in this thing. It's a Wednesday, man, and I gotta tell y'all, man, it's always something. But hey, you know, I would like to come in there sometime, man, and show some funny clips. Let's chop it up, man. Get a good laugh in it too. I think I'm gonna do that from time to time, rather than always coming to say, man, this is what we got to do. Hey, man, press it. I'm pretty sure, I like to think that most of us know exactly what it is we must do to get to where we need to be, So I don't always enjoy doing this, that mind state, the conversation always is around or about what the hell is going on. I mean, we should be mindful of it. We should stay abreast of what is taking place, not just in our lives, but, in the environment or in society, in the world, around us. There's some real serious stuff going on. But I thought about this today. I said, all right, man, I'm going to come in with some good clips, man. I like funny clips, man. I'll be laughing like a big dog, man. By myself, be cracking up. So I'm going to bring some of them clips in here, man. And, we can get a laugh, man, just in regards to how we are as people. I saw one yesterday with black people and their animals. And it was the funniest shit because they say this is how black people talk to their dogs, And I swear to God, man, I just started laughing because I got 2 dogs and a cat. And I be talking to them like I'm talking to y'all, you know what I'm saying? And I swear for the most part, they get what the fuck I be talking about, especially when they messing up. So I'm thinking about that, man. Little baby clips, you know what I'm saying? Little things, that I find funny that I'm pretty sure some of you might enjoy as well. That being said, man, peace and prosperity. Everybody's good to see you all up in here. Let's do what we do. Now, in spite of all that I just said, there's a lot going on. We know this, and some of it, I got maybe a clip or two. I just ran across one clip I found very, very insightful. It's crazy, actually, too, but one is super long, and I don't like running long clips while we're doing our thizzle. But I'm going to drop that one clip in about 5-10 minutes. And it's some serious shit. One thing about it that stuck with me, and the reason why I want to say this is because what was said in it, it hit home for me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all gonna recognize what's being said as, facts. And maybe this is the reason why we get treated the way we do. I don't know, but we'll get to that, man. Like I said, man, this is Under the Groove Podcast TV. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see everyone here. Let's get into it, man. First and foremost, man, I want to send my shots out, man. I see you, James. Salute right back to you. You say salute, Big Bub One. I'm all about the brothers, not the others. Black fist up high on mine. Queen and Zinga's in the house, front and center. Happy Wednesday, kings and queens in the RGC. Every step forward matters, even the small ones. Stay focused, protect your peace, and remember that consistency creates change. All right. I'm going to take that to heart. James asks, how you doing, bub? Man, I'm here, man. I'm like, so many of us. I'm a survivalist, man. I know how to survive, man. I know how to get from one day to the next. If ancestors grant me with that, that touch, and I wake 10 toes down, it's on the crack, and I'm good, man. I'm going to get through, bro. I'm going to get through like most of us do. No complaints there. James said consumption of the BS will lead to toilet troubles. A whole lot of ish. We need to eat more healthier food for thought, Big Bub. It's too much sugary garbage and additives and preservatives in the content of 2026, big homie. Yeah, real spit. Jabarni's back, y'all. What's up with it, Jabarni? You say greetings, big bro. Blessings, royal family. Greetings and salutations to you as well. Peace and prosperity to you and your fam, bro. Good to see you up in here again, Jabarni. All right. Long time no see, man. Good to know that you're still with us, man. How you feel about everything that's going on? What's your take on that? Do you support the group economics push or movement? And what about the transfer of wealth or the wealth transfer back to the community? Are you in support of that? Also, should it be just Asians that this is directed to, or should it be everybody, especially those who've done everything to us before the Asians did, and those who still do it, those other than the Asians? I'm just curious, man. What's your take on that? Let me know what you think. Drop that in the comments when you get a chance, if you feel like it. All right. James said, man, keep it pure, raw, and even unadulterated. Pure wisdom, knowledge, insight, and ideas. Black is the movement. Shouts out to them brothers and sisters in the militia down there in Lafayette, Louisiana. All right. And in regards to that, I went and checked that out. That clip is like 5 years old, right? I looked at it today. And in fact, I'm pretty familiar with the Not Fucking Around Committee, the NFAC. The leader, I think the brother name was Robert Johnson or something like that. The feds got hold of him and put him in federal prison for about like 8 years because they were all gathered and they had, the federal government watching them on rooftops and shit. And the brother, he used his scope to see who it was, and they gave him a charge pointing a firearm at a federal agent. Got 8 years. But that coalition, man, super strong, man. And I had to wonder, like most of our leaders who about it, man. And this brother was ex-military as well. They're gonna get rid of him, man. They got to find a way to make sure that he don't, or we don't, they don't, she don't cement unity, and bring about, a certain mindset and proactiveness about, Black lives, especially our women and our children, in terms of defending them, protecting them. They don't want that, man. And the first step we make towards that, man, I'm telling you, they'll think immediately like, we got to stop this. We got to stop this, I also saw somewhere a firearms instructor was arrested for teaching young Black teens how to shoot straight. He's a firearm instructor. The dude get arrested for doing his job, what his training, his skill is. Black brother, so this is what's going on, man. It's crazy work. but it's the work that they're used to doing, man, or working against us, man. Crazy shit. All right, Tantrum, what it do? Tantrum knows it, man. Listening in the background, homie. Why tattoo? Do your thizzle, man. Good to see you up, up and about with us. It's something else that you could do that and still, pay attention. My wife always tell me it's all about multitasking, man. You got to be able to do more than one thing at one time. You get more done that way. So I appreciate when she tell me that shit. And I appreciate it more when you say, hey, man, this is what I'm doing, but I hear you. Good luck, bro. Stay on it. Stay on it. You say, yeah, I was in the feds with the second in command. He did security for Erykah Badu. His name is John Johnson. He is still in the feds in Ashland. Yeah, that may be him. Giovanni say Marcus Garvey teaches buy black. All right. In this here time, we don't own a lot of businesses. So try to buy black and go where we are treated with integrity and respect and a lot of dignity as well. Appreciate hearing you say that, bro. Poke up in the house, y'all. Top of the night, bub. What's cracking on the hottest live podcast under the groove. And of course, all the wisdom in the RGC Kings and Queens. You watch it without learning something. All right, important for you. Okay, let me read that again because somewhere along the line, I think I messed up. Top of the night, bub, was cracking on the hottest live podcast, UTG. And of course, all the wisdom in the RGC, Kings and Queens. You catch or watch. You watch it without learning something important for you. In other words, man, we're going to hand these jewels and gems off, man. They're there for y'all to take with you, man. Make the most of it. He end with focus on the focus. No doubt, bro. No doubt. Yeah, in terms of what you were saying about Marcus Garvey, man, it's a trip. So I did, yesterday we had this discussion in terms of black businesses that are established and, anywhere near we can get to them so that we can, put our dollars in circulation with black businesses. Yesterday I was shocked to find out of 100 and let's say 50,000 gas stations, only 29 owned by black people. 29 gas stations in the country owned by black people. That's not a good look. That is not a good look. Now couple that with the fact that there are no grocery stores, but not in abundance like that. I'm willing to wager, there aren't going to be, there'll probably be more grocery stores black owned than gas stations. But what about banks? What about insurance companies, things of that nature, hospitals, stuff like that. We're lacking, man, in that respect. But that's through no fault of our own. And this is something we have to acknowledge, man. It's not because we don't have ambition or we don't see the importance or necessity of having our own institutions. The fact of the matter is we're living in a system that works against us. You know what I mean? That's a fact. They rather see us dependent upon them rather than we be independent from them. This all came into play back when they got rid of segregation, which was their system, and forced us, in my opinion, into integration. As a result of integration, we lost everything. So when they did what they did on Black Wall Street, Tulsa, and anywhere else, South Carolina, wherever we were making it happen, I think that they decided then and there that integration would be the thing for us, and anybody that would try to or attempt to work outside of that, they would create problems for it. So I like to think that in spite of what happened in terms of them, dismantling, destroying everything we built, we still have brothers and sisters who are more than willing to go the extra mile and do it again. And I think that's when integration coupled with racism, the Klan, and anybody of the police departments, sheriffs in them towns and them states worked against our people, man, to make sure that those things weren't established all over again. Marcus Garvey was destroyed also because his concept was exactly that. We do for ourselves. We're not trying to hear nobody or trust in anyone else doing anything for us or us depending on anybody else for anything. He had the right idea, the right concept, And I think that thing would have went places, you know, far and wide. But again, we're dealing with a system that actually it can't see us. It refuses to allow us to do our own thing, you know. But those were the times back then. I tend to think that nowadays they couldn't stop us if we decide to do whatever the hell we decide to do. That'd be a problem, and they know that, you know. So I think that that approach is still in place, but that would be their last resort, an attempt to attack us and destroy whatever we build. They would do other things first in the hopes that those other antics or tactics, strategies would work rather than having to draw down, get their airplanes and bomb us and shit. You know, last time they bombed us was in Philadelphia in 1985, but they did do that. You know what I mean? So that's not far-fetched that they would do it again, you know? You know what I mean? What's that? Red integration? Are you saying reintegration or red integration? Red integration. All right, I'll call it that. I'm not familiar with that spelling, but okay. Tantrum, first off, Rakufu, man, I see you up in there. Appreciate it. Antonio, what it do, bro? Salute right back to you. Love and respect. Good to see you up in here, loved one. Oh, you can't watch it. That's what you meant. Okay. Okay, so anyway, yeah, wisdom is in RGC Kings and Queens. You can't watch it without learning something important for you. Salute right back. That Black Fist and Love Pope. Appreciate you correcting that for me. Again, Antonio, good to see you up in here. Ra, what it do, loved one? You say hello, RGC. Peace and blessings to the family, man. Right back to you. Peace and prosperity, bro. Good to see you up in here. You going to say hello, RGC? Okay. Peace and prosperity. I said that. Tantrum once. Tantrum said, watch the movie 24th is deep. Is that a new one? 24th. I'm going to watch that. 24th. I fell asleep last night watching Fat Rat said he suggested that I watch or we watch Disclosure Day by Steven Spielberg. I fell asleep. Interesting, kind of slow, but interesting nonetheless, man, in terms of what was happening. You know, I'm like, oh shit, you know. It wasn't nothing far-fetched about it, you know what I mean? So I'm going to try to finish that one tonight, start all over, and I'll catch 24th after that. All right. So word of the day again for Rakufu is reintegration. I'm having trouble looking at that, man. That RED. But anyway, it's the definition is the restoration of a thing to its former whole or pristine state, a complete renewal or recovery of a status previously lost. Yeah. So it's redintegration. All right. Redintegration. Okay. The treaty provided for the formal redintegration. All right. Of the sovereign borders to their pre-war baseline. Got you. The fractured line. All right. All right. I'll get to that in a minute. Appreciate you, man, for correcting me on that. I'm not familiar with that. I hate to say, I have to say. I'm going to look that one up. That's for sure. Anyway. All right. What we got here? And all right, you got what you got for us, man. Rakufu said the treaty provided for the former redintegration of the sovereign borders to their pre-war baseline. The fractured line, the broken stone, the scattered parts we left alone by slow degrees begin to fill the pristine form they left behind. Not merely mended, patch by patch, nor joined by some imperfect latch, but rendered whole, intact, and free, a return to primal sovereignty. This is the mind's deep, patient art, Yeah. To summon from a single part the entire world that used to be in absolute redintegration. All right, Tantrum says, man, the 24th tells the true story of the 1917 Houston riot, where black soldiers of the 24th Infantry Regiment, faced racism, police brutality, and injustice while serving their country. Powerful movie. Now that you mention that, I think my wife attempted to put that on, and me, sometimes I'm a, like I said, see, for me, I see what Hollywood does. And they got a cold spin on how they present movies, especially those movies that involve us historically. You know what I mean? I have issues with how they do this shit, man. They'll try to make it seem like, oh, this was valiant, there was a lot of valor, and dignity, and yet throughout the movie, there's a lot of denigration, disrespect, killing of black men, women, and children and shit like that. I have a problem digesting that shit, so she did attempt to put that movie on, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I think I do. Matter of fact, I think I might have watched 5 minutes of it, man, and I was like, nah, man, I can't deal with this, but I'm gonna give it another try. All right. Chris, what it do? B1 Black First, man. Good to see you up in here hanging out with us, bro. Man, love it when my brothers do what they do, man, and come and get down, man. Rakuvu said, man, Bub, police, feds, etc., all up and down Figueroa indicting the youth, so-called pimping on the youth. 18 arrested today. Hey, man, look. So I'm gonna say this, and I actually mean what the hell I'm about to say, but I don't want it to sound like I'm callous and uncaring about what's going to happen or what's happening to our youth, our young brothers and sisters, on the streets. I don't know if they call it making a living or just hustling to look good, front floss or whatever. But we said this how long ago when they did the first one? Went in and gather up a lot of the young loved ones and carted them all off to jail and, pasted the pictures all over social media and the news. We said then, hey, man, game is changing, and they're out to get you guys, us, our young brothers and sisters. Now, that was said to them, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. That's not always the case. All right. You know what I mean? Sometimes, it would be common sense. So, lay low, get the hell out of the way, go somewhere else and do whatever. Right. But that ain't always common sense. So I'm like this, man. My mindset is this. All right, man. It would be no different from my experiences, because I've had people tell me growing up, hey, man, that shit gonna catch up with you. I'm, hey, all right, man, trying to hear that shit, boom, caught up with me in the worst way. The shit gonna catch up, man. So, even though everybody have their own lives to live, and we decide, let's be quite frank, when we want to get, well, I think circumstances, situations put us in that frame of mind where we say, okay, I got to change my life. None of us actually truly just, I decided I'm going to change my, no. Not when we think it's good, it's all good or whatever, that it don't happen like that. But when individuals are telling us things, man, that are to benefit us, to, in other words, try to give, advice towards or in the direction of our well-being, easier said than done. It would be wise to pay attention. Now, because brothers and sisters didn't listen, and I'm more than sure whoever got caught up, they had ample opportunity, man, to, figure out something else, man. They've been listening in terms of what's going on in the world concerning our people. You know what I mean? And yet they decided, or, they said, hey, man, I'm cool with what I'm doing. I don't really give a flying flick about, well, that ain't me. Got these holes. I got, I'm on the blade, da. Okay, man, then, that's yours. That's yours. It kind of remind me of a conversation we had today on social media. A sister was in a gas station in Long Beach, North Long Beach. essay, no shirt, Oakland A's, old school Oakland A's hat, green with the yellow bill with an axe handle. Whoever started recorded at that moment, walked up to the car, snatched the gas pump out the gas tank, jumped on her shit, and she's screaming. She run out of nowhere. I don't know, hey, my baby in the car, my baby. And the other lady, who was recording, went around the other, and I guess he, attacked her or whatever, but they got him out the car, right? How fortunate for her and the baby that was in the car. However, the debate was centered around, oh, well, why are we going to blame the mother when you had this dude, this assailant trying to carjack her, blah, 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 And the conversation was this. See, most sisters, I think, and I don't like discussing a lot of sisters without a sister present or what they do, you know what I mean? But in this respect, I'm going to make it short. I think a lot of sisters take life for granted, man. Just like brothers, you know what I mean? Just, it's worse for them when they do it, though. They're more vulnerable. You know what I mean? They're more attacked, disrespected, abused, abducted, all kind of shit. Sisters with children supposed to know one thing and one thing only. It is your obligation to your death to protect your child. Do all the things you're supposed to do to minimize any harm or trouble that can come to that child. So for sisters who may be listening, who may listen later, here's the game. When you go up into a gas station, a parking lot, a parking garage, stopping at a stop sign, a stoplight, hitting a corner, whatever, hey man, be on point. Keep your doors locked when you in the car driving, for real. You know what I mean? When you're in a gas station, you put your purse on the floor, you get the money in the card that you need to do what you got to do. Make sure the child is safe, strapped in, everything. Get out, lock the door. Real simple shit. Lock the door. When the video started, she was nowhere near the gas pump. But the car door is wide open. So when we know better, we're supposed to do better. And if she didn't know any better than that was a hard lesson to learn. You know what I mean? Now, people in the comments want to be upset because I'm saying, wait a minute. She has an obligation to not take life, especially Black life, her child's life for granted. We're in a climate where no one gives a fuck about where it's open season on us. Technically, it's open season on Black people. Technically, let's be 100. But more so for our sisters, they're the most abused, battered, abducted, disrespected on the planet, man. Sisters supposed to know this, but they so caught up in whatever it is they in, they're not paying attention. They do not pay attention. So when I brought this up, that's all I said. I said, hey man, look, there should be a protocol. Anytime you're about to get out your vehicle, you got the kids with you. If the kids don't come, you ought to know enough to hide your purse, get out, exit, lock that mug, do what you got to do, and hurry back. That's like, man, that's like Mando. You know what I mean? That's some mandatory shit. Sisters take for granted their lives in a lot of respects. A mug can pull up, man, and the car could be flashy. Right piece of jewelry on, whatever. Say the right there, get in. Or give them the number, follow them, or what. Man, what are y'all doing, man? What are y'all doing? Not taking this shit serious. We're in these times, man, where our shit is in the balance. People are trying to break us. They're trying to break us. And I'm telling you, they start with our women and our children. They're not going to do that to us. It's men. They have a great fear for us, but they see our women as vulnerable, as unprotected, defenseless. A lot of our sisters don't understand the first thing about defense, man. And that's some crazy work. I don't care where you getting out the car at. Always be prepared. Always know what your plan is. Have your head on the swivel, all that. Case your surroundings. Have you some bear mace or something. So mother, hey man, you not taking, hey, I got my baby in the car. I'm gonna hit you with this bear mace. But you leave nothing to chance. So I couldn't say that to this sister because another sister jumped in the comment. Oh man, you mean to tell me you're gonna blame the sister? Da 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 da. And I said, yeah, initially. Yeah. It's our obligation to minimize any harm that could come to them kids. Know that that's her job, first and foremost, protect them babies, man. You know, you don't leave the baby in the car with the keys in the car, door wide open, and you ain't nowhere. Come on, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. No, the same thing, though, when we talk about our young brothers, man, on the blade doing what they do, man, they know better, man. They know better. And these might be the individuals who may have to go through something to get to something, understanding, get to some, gain some wisdom as a result of this shit. This is Wednesday's wisdom, y'all. Wellness and the whole nine. That's what we're talking about, Hey, but look, that's just my take on it. I say to the women in our family a lot, hey, man, no, don't trust. No, man. No. You go somewhere, man, don't be in the car on the phone lollygagging. Get your ass out, lock the door, come back here, boom. Don't take this shit for granted, man, because there's always somebody watching, observing, especially our women, always. And they're looking for the come up. They're looking to see if they're slipping. A lot of our sisters are beautiful. A lot of young sisters, beautiful, man. They kidnapping people, man. Sisters, pull up in these parking lots. They're not paying attention, man. Next thing you know, a van pulls up, see them in there, boom. I mean, it happens, man. If there's recordings of this shit. This is how women get abducted, not just sisters, but women. Because they're not paying attention. They pull up, they want to check themselves in the mirror and all this old stuff, hear them do some phone shit, mess around in the purse. You're not even knowing you've been followed or tagged because you're not paying attention. So I'm just saying, man, as a bit of advice to our sisters, be on point, man. Take nothing for granted from no man. No man. All right? Because some of our brothers is working with these traffickers. You see these sisters out at night on the weekend getting drunk, boom, slip them Mickey. Next thing they know, they on a shipping container, in a shipping container, headed somewhere that, hey, man. That's all I'm saying. So, our sisters need to do their job, their due diligence first. Always protect themselves, especially when they got them babies, man. Know that they ain't got time for no BS. Get it done, get out the way. We living in dire times, y'all. People are out to get us, and that is not no conspiracy. That's not no made up shit. We are the targets. Because we're the easiest ones to do shit to and get away with it. Because no one defends us. And again, especially our sisters. Our brothers don't defend our sisters. I just saw some shit last week. 2 brothers, damn homosexuals or something, I don't know what the hell they were, sitting in a car recording a pit bull attacking 2 sisters. Man, I couldn't understand that for the life of me, man. And not just, but other people on the streets watching, and I'm thinking, damn, man, they don't even, our people, damn, we not rap tight, man. We have to be better about how we go about doing things, man, because if we don't, a lot of our people gonna suffer, man. But them 2 brothers sat there in that car, they did nothing, just talk about, oh my God, look at it, oh, they sound kind of fruity anyway. But so even if that's the case, damn, man, come on home. Sister didn't know how to defend herself from a pit bull. Oh man, crazy work, man. But this is what's going on. Anyway, all right, Tantrum, you tripping? I was told, see, shit happened for a reason. So I'm chopping up with the loved ones, about this thing this rule I have about no one don't send me a dime. You know, I'm not into that. And I was told, I said, but Bub, you might be cutting off somebody's blessing. I'm like, what the hell you mean, man? You know, I mean, shit, it should be a blessing. I'm telling you, keep that. Do it with something else, somebody else, whatever. They said that ain't, but that ain't how it came to them. You know, they say, man, if they want to do that, then you don't cut their blessing short, bro. I said, man, I ain't with none of that. You know, he said, yeah, man, but still, that came to them like that to do that, bro. And if you resist or you deny it, you speak against, say, hey, don't do that, you cutting off somebody else's blessing. Now, you might be all right, but hey, man, that might be for them. You know, so you know, I'm gonna continue to say what I say, you know what I mean, and I mean that shit. Yeah, I hear you, Pope. Yeah, that's just my stance, man. I think, see there, you know, I think we're on to something, man. Our people. We played the clip last night with the young brother. He said $1 is 58 million of us. $1 a month. You know, $1 a month, man. $1 a month, man. You know, that's something. So, you know, I have thoughts about, you know, anybody that does that. I know what to do. But you know, for the most part, yeah, I'm totally against it. You know, if you guys think that, you know, this, I'm cutting your blessing short, don't worry about what I'm talking about. I you know, I stand on that square though. You know, I don't want to, you know, deprive nobody of that blessing. You know what I mean? Them receiving that. All right. Yeah. So that being said, let's move on, man. Damn you, tantrum. All right. So yeah, man, this is what's going on, and I'm telling y'all, we are in these situations where we are we're in a position, man, to do so much more tomorrow than we did today, just based on the climate. Also, it's the climate. You know, it could be the climate could be many things, but in this respect, we're talking about a group economics or a transfer of wealth or wealth transfer to the Black community rather than everybody else. We have an opportunity, man. This is one of those blessings that's being presented to us. And look, man, if let's not cut the blessing short. You know, let's do what we're supposed to do, man, because I think a lot can be accomplished from this. There's a lot being accomplished from this. I was doing the research today. I found platforms, Black platforms like YouTube or whatnot. I didn't know they existed. So I'm like, okay, now I'm finna go up in here and check this out because they do the same thing YouTube do, but you get more action on them. So I'm like, okay, I might have to go up in there and run that thing, see how that thing work, you know, and you know, just see, you know, see what it's like. I can probably run them both, but run them on a fan base. I don't know if anybody heard of that platform, Black social media platform called Fan Base. Is owned and ran by Isaac Hayes III. There's another one called Spill. I'm up on Spill. I actually have Spill on my phone. Alfonso Terrell and I think Devarius Brown, they run that. It's conversation / culture / community platform. Then there's Black Planet, and let it be told, Black Planet is like the father, you know, it's an old one, you know, go way back, you know, I think 99, something like that, 1999. Blackplanet.com by Omar Wasso, I think is his name. And then there are others, Melanin People, Bean Now, Move Spot, the Black App, Afro Americans, and Spoutable. So, you know, you know, my mission is to go check each and every one of them out later on just to see if that's true, because, you know, hey, I think what we do need to get out as much as possible on any platform, you know, that actually caters to us, where our people go the most. You know, that's how I see that. So I'm on that shit just like that, man. No doubt, no doubt. All right, let me get up in here, man. What link you sent me earlier? Get off my phone. See, I tell y'all, these phones come on anytime they want to. They listening. They're watching. All right, Ross said I sent you the link earlier. Okay, you the one to send me that link. Okay, I check it out. And the homeboy Damian Porter had put it out. But like I said, I knew that whole piece of content like years ago. I actually used to follow them quite a bit. You know, look at their marches. You know, they pushed up on the Klan one day. I forget what state that was, man, where they got the Confederate general on the wall like they do Mount Rushmore, and they was deep. And them crackers was scared. They're like, oh shit, they got guns like ours, you know. There wasn't no N-word, nothing, none of that. So yeah, I remember that. Anyway, folks said, man, in real time, Bub, I'm seeing while OT that it is the people who are the money, the ones who make the money. And because we blacks outnumber the people who run and own all the businesses, they keep these. I hate when they happen, folks. All right, they keep these triggers to keep us off base. Integration, separation, annihilation. We need to find a way to make them pull the trigger on their own selves. All right, real spit now. Real spit. And again, you guys, you know, we up, you know, I don't like using phrase like we up against it and you know, because you know the reality is, the truth of the matter is, man, when were we ever not? You know what I mean? So that's not a word, you know, it don't really hold substance, you know what I mean? Because we've gotten to the point where the word up against it is like, that's that word don't mean shit. That don't, you know, up against what? We've been doing this. We, you know, we keep thriving, we keep striving, you know. So what you mean up against it, you know what I mean? But there are certain instances and circumstances where we know, you know, the fix is in, you know what I mean? Where someone's trying to beat us back, you know, or keep the lid on top of us so we don't rise. You know, we understand that. But I'm the type of guy, man, and I think a lot of us are. We think like, you know what, man, that to us that ain't even par for the course no more. You know, we looking at the new shit that happening now. You know, that we know how to defeat that. You know, the new shit is what we see occurring now for our generation, at least, at the very least, where we have an opportunity to come together financially and make something happen for the people, you know, but especially the children, you know, who are coming up. We establish it now by the time they of age, you know, and we get their minds out these phones like that and get them in these books and have them learn these skills, you know, these trades, these careers. They're gonna be all right. And speaking of that, I saw some shit today. It was funny, but it was sad. So a brother walking in the crowd, I think it's Miami, late night, a lot of traffic on the sidewalks and shit. He has one of them cue cards. And in cursive, the word zebra was written in cursive. And so bro say, you walk up on people, say, what does this say? Oh man, I was like, oh dude, for real? And it wasn't just us, all of them, all the youngsters, I don't care what race. None of them knew the damn word. Could not read cursive. Didn't know a capital Z in cursive. I'm like, oh, this some crazy work, man. This is some funny shit. It made me click and think that, yeah, the system is designed to keep people as slaves and workers. It's not designed to educate them. You know what I mean? To enlighten them, to prepare them for the world in terms of entrepreneurship, you know, and creating businesses and corporations. That's not why they are in school. It dawned on me, man, when I saw this shit, I said, oh shit, dumb as rocks. And that wasn't the first one. I seen one maybe a week ago. But this one had like, maybe it was a sentence, you know, it was a sentence. I can't remember it, you know, exactly, but it wasn't in cursive, man. It was just regular writing. And I said, oh man, for real? This is some sad shit, man. But yeah. Yeah, man. We got to get our shit together, man. We have to be prepared, man. I read that again, though, in real time, Bub. I'm seeing while OT that it is the people who are the money, the ones who make the money. And because we blacks outnumber the people who run and own all the businesses, they keep these triggers to keep us off base: integration, separation, annihilation. We need to find a way to make them pull the trigger on their own selves. I think we're already on course. We're already in the flow of that. And I'm gonna tell you what's gonna make them pull the trigger on themselves. The fact that once we get ours, we understand how economics, the transfer of wealth, group economics, and transfer of wealth, transference would affect them. Once we understand how that would affect them, it gives us leverage, politically, otherwise, whatever, however you want to name it, man. That's what money does. Because again, we're working in this system is capitalistic, period, point blank. It's not a democracy. That's just that's the trick word. That's the trick word that they tell people. Oh, we're in a democracy. No, this motherfucker is about capitalism. That's it. That's all. And everything that exists that goes on is based upon that. Capitalism run it all. But anyway, that's how you get them, man. Money. And especially when we, keep money from flowing back in their pockets. So like we were saying about the Asians, they shouldn't be the only ones getting it. All of them should get it. But especially the city or the state, even the country should get it. Because they are the ones who propagate most of the bullshit against us. They're the ones who allow most of what happens to us happen. They allow this shit. They hire the police who murder us in the streets, unarmed black men and women, shoot our babies. You know what I mean? They allow this shit and they let them off scot-free. They should be the first ones. And again, we think that it's pivoting to that. I just saw, a gang of, a lot of content today with brothers and sisters all over the country saying, matter of fact, all of them, we ain't spend nothing. All of them do this shit. So who's next? Somebody say all of them. Yeah. We should take this opportunity, man, to better ourselves financially, so that we're in a position to where we are now, or we become independent. No longer dependent upon the system that cares nothing about us. And when a lot of our people say, well, where are we going to buy this, that, and the third? Man, there's a lot of people who will sell to us. Money's king. Money's king. That's the truth, man. They can hate your black guts, your black skin. Money is king, though. They'll turn on their mamas for money. We know how this shit go, right? Money will remove integrity from people, or principles, or what they think to be solid principles. They'll discard, they'll shake that shit quick for money. But in a more serious tone, man, really, seriously speaking, we have brothers and sisters across the water who will be happy to sell us their products, who will be happy to do that. Africans, not Algeria, not Morocco, not Libya, these places where do y'all know they are actually selling brothers and sisters on the slave market in Libya today? Yesterday, this is actually going on. The world ain't saying nothing. United Nations ain't saying nothing. United States certainly ain't saying nothing. European Union ain't saying, no one is saying anything. Video like a big dog coming out of Libya right now, where they got hundreds, maybe thousands of brothers in these big old compounds, and they're selling them. Some sad shit, man. But it's actually happening. You know, and these are Muslims over there doing that. You know, that's some sad shit to me. You know, and I'm not attaching American Muslims with those, you know, because I know there's a difference. There's Sunnis, there's Shias, you know, there's a different mindset, a different get down, you know, a different practice, if you will, you know. I saw another one today where a Muslim store owner in Philadelphia cussed out a sister, all kind of N's and B words, you know, and at the same time selling pork and all this shit to the people, you know, doing foul shit he's not supposed to do. Brothers went up in there, man, like, nah, we got to shut you down, man. You can't be here no more. You know, went up in there and shut them down, literally, you know. I think I saw a comment too, said, no, they back open. And then somebody said, no, they not, you know. So, but, you know, this is happening, man. We are under attack, man, you know, from all corners, man. You know, we're not getting no passes, you know, and I don't think we should give them. You know, again, we shouldn't be worried about who's saying what. If they're doing something, that's totally different. If they're doing anything to harm us, then by all means, by any means necessary, protect yourself. That's what I say. You know, that's what I say. But if it's rhetoric, it's talking right now, we have to find the strength to not focus on that, because that talk is being spoken to distract us, right along with everything else that's being thrown at us. You know what I mean? People are in fear that we are waking up, man, and they think that we're going to do them the way we've been done. And on that note, I want to bring this clip in here, man, because I found it very intriguing. And y'all up in here today. Hold on. Let's do this clip right quick. I found it serious shit, man. I found it to be some serious shit. There you go. You know, listen to what she's saying right quick, and let's get back to what we do, y'all. All right.
And I will explain. So tell me if I'm crazy. Tell me if I crack the code. I have stumbled. The world doesn't respect black people because we haven't done enough crimes against humanity.
All right, y'all catch that first part she said, man? Any truth to that? The world do not respect black people because we haven't done any crimes against humanity. That's a cold statement, man. That's a cold statement to make. That's a cold statement to consider that that's what they think. Or that's why they get us the way we do. We haven't been evil enough, atrocious enough, genocidal enough, you know. Play that one more time. I'm going to let it go. I ain't going to mess with it no more, y'all.
The world doesn't respect black people because we haven't done enough crimes against humanity.
Man.
And I will explain. So tell me if I'm crazy. Tell me if I crack the code. I have stumbled upon another TikTok of this time an African-American woman. It's always African-American people being discriminated against, being followed around, having to deal with slurs in countries that we don't even visit that much, countries that we have little to no history with. And we're constantly asking in the comments, what the fuck did we do? What did we do? We didn't do anything to them. Right. And I think that's the issue, is that we haven't done anything to them. I'm starting to think that these different countries, these different continents only respect crazy crimes against humanity, and we have yet to do that. Like Japan, for example. Japanese people tend to have a respect and a reverence for the same group of people who did Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Yet we're an issue, right? I feel like we don't get respect the same way that henchmen don't get respect on Batman. You feel me? It's like just a quick little obstacle to get over. There's much more reverence and much more thought going into, and much more time taken to figure out how to take down Joker, how to take down Penguin, how to take down Clayface, because they're a bigger threat, and there's more story to them. No one gives a fuck about the henchmen and their little petty crimes. Batman just swoops in, breaks their arm, and leaves. And I think that's the issue. if you notice when people complain about black people, they're always saying, you guys are always looting and loitering and shooting at each other. You're all gangbangers and da da da. And mind you, all those are crimes against each other. We don't go outside of our neighborhoods and fuck with other people that don't look like us. If we're gangbanging against somebody who looks just like us on the other side of the same neighborhood. It's never us affecting other people, and I think that doesn't get us respect. Why would I respect people that are stealing out of stores, stealing out of malls, stealing out of gas stations, when my people steal whole countries? We steal people. We steal your ideas. We steal your children and sell them off, and I'm supposed to respect you because you stole a fucking candy bar? You're small time. And I think the moment that we start getting up and, ooh, let me be quiet, I'm saying too much, but you get what I'm saying. The world.
I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you dropping, girl. Hey, man, now you tell me, did that make any sense? I think it did, a whole bunch. I think it made a whole bunch of sense, man. Is that it? Is that why we don't garner any respect from other demographics? Because we haven't murdered scores and scores of people, because we haven't enslaved people, dropped bombs on people, wiped out their whole populations of people, sold children, ate children, PD children and all. Is that it? That's deep. That's some deep shit, man, if you think about it. She might have broke the code, like she said, if you think about it. That's some deep shit, man. Man. Let me catch up with these comments, man, because I need to know what y'all think about what she just said, because I'm telling you, that's some cold stuff, man. All right, Lisa Moore, what's up with the Queen's sister? Said blessings to you, King. Pope Mitchell, hope all is well with you and the fam. Be one. There you go. Poke's in there, amen. Speak the truth, Big Bub, man. Hey, man, truth to power, y'all. And as always, if I say something that don't jive, man, hey, man, correct me, please. Please. That's mandatory. That should be mandatory. Not just me, they go for anybody, that's what we're supposed to do. So appreciate that though, Pope. Chris said, yes, Bub, there's a disconnect between black men and black women. No doubt about that. We all are aware of this. But again, now, it's almost like this. I'm going to put it to you like this, Chris. I was talking about the sister at the gas station in North Long Beach who just wasn't on her game, right? Just was slipping big time. Boom, in come the robber, all because she didn't do what she's supposed to do. So much could have transpired. I think she's very fortunate to not only be well, but have her baby not lose. You know what I mean? So that's a good look. I think the disconnect in terms of her not doing what she's supposed to, she wasn't on her game. When it comes to sisters and brothers not connecting, I'm gonna tell you what you know how that started, right? And rather than sisters being aware of what the circumstances was, being mindful that there's always somebody watching us and wanting to interfere, you get something from us, take something from us, keep us from having something, make us dependent upon them, not us not being independent. The sisters knew this. They knew this shit. So when the government came with the paper checks or whatever and said, hey, this is what you do, they went along with it. They went along with it. Some knew how to play the game. Some actually knew how to play the game. Some families, they stayed together regardless. And keep in mind that the government didn't do that to white families. That was not one of the prerequisites. That was not a condition for white families to receive government assistance, or welfare is what we called it back in the day. And food stamps, we call it EBT, we called it welfare and food stamps. White families didn't have to do that, but black families were given a set of instructions or requirements for the black woman to receive money from the government to feed the babies and pay the bills. And that was, you can't have the black man in the house, right? Boom. Some of them, they played the game, very good at it, you know. And again, this is how we know how to adapt and adjust. Some, on the other hand, though, and for whatever reason, they played ball with the government. You know what I'm saying? It could have been an abusive husband. I don't know what the case was. You know, it could have been a drunkard. It could have been an abuser in the house. I don't know. But it got to the point where they got so involved in the get down that they begin to think that, well, I don't need him. I got the government. Government, my man, hey, you ain't doing nothing for me. Government doing everything for me. So that evolved into, once welfare became this thing that it didn't have the same pool of power it did like in the 60s and 70s and 80s, the other things that began to take place, and sisters were able to, continue on this path where they were providing for in whatever way, whatever the means were, they were getting it done. And I think they developed a mindset along the way that, hey, man, my babies, I got them. That thing was planted in them, and a lot of them allowed it to grow, allowed that seed to grow, and they were all right with the roots taking place. And that idea mentality sprouting that they didn't need the black man in the household. That's where the disconnect started, I think. It started the government. Again, everything the government do, especially towards black people, is a plan. It's a strategy. It's an idea. It's not no whimsical shit. It's not just something that falls out of the sky, that month, that year. It's okay, do this. No. It's something they work on. They refine their tactics and strategies that they apply or, use against us to, keep us discombobulated, keep our equilibrium off, man. This is what they do. A lot of us, we bite into this shit, not just sisters, man, brothers too. We bite into this shit. We get to the point where, hey, man, shit, this is better than nothing. I'm going with this, man. I don't know long this game exists. I don't need nobody. I don't need my own brothers and sisters. I got pimping. I got trapping. I got whatever. You know what I mean? So this is not just something I think sisters are subjected to, but I think it's something that continues to keep us separated because sisters have this mentality now where they don't feel like they don't need men. And brothers are now like, okay, I'll just have me, little chick on the side, man, when I'm, got my own shit. I don't need her up in here, da-da-da. I don't know, man. This is a bad thing. That disconnect, though, was created by them. And again, you can go back as far as slavery when they separated the two, sold her off or sold him off, disconnected them, and left her in a state of mind of, of desperation, confusion, man, just, messed up, then have to be handed out to another brother to bear more children, breaded, you know what I mean? So this shit happened a long time ago. They've been doing this to our women for a long time. So it really shouldn't be no wonder why it's like the way it is, I don't know. I kind of tend to think that this is something we have to work with our sisters, to bring us back into this thing, man, where, we got to let them know, hey, man, they're cherished, they're loved and respected, we'll die for them, A lot of sisters probably feel like shit. Brothers won't even do, and again, I've seen videos where brothers have watched sisters get pummeled and brutalized by other men, even brothers, and I understand, the thought processes here. Oh, well, man, that could be his woman, his wife. Yeah, they really matter. I'm just saying. I don't know, man. Yeah, the disconnect exists, man. But how do we fix that? How do we reconnect with those queens, man, our goddesses, man? The first. I don't care nobody say. They the ones, man. And it's sad, man, that we are separated the way we are. And a lot of us don't even realize that we need them more than we think. They're the only ones we need. We're the only ones they need. You know, we don't need anyone else. You know, I don't know, bro. You know, it's a sad reality though that exists, that disconnect. I saw some shit today, man. A brother went up in this thing, in this salon, had 3-4 black sisters up in there, man. And he said, hey, y'all, they killing our kids. Then y'all get the memo. Why y'all in here? And you know, so once put her arms up, and I'm thinking immediately, two thoughts came to my mind in terms of what she could be thinking or what she was thinking. Oh, Ninja, you can't tell me what to do. This, I'm paying. You ain't gonna pay for my shit. Da 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 da. You know, and then, you know, it, the other one. Well, who you think you talking to? You can't tell me what to do. You know, this is my money. I go where I want. You know, da, da, da. And then, you know, the other sisters, you know, one, she crossed her arms too, just, you know, one sister wouldn't look up and the other sister looked away. I said, yeah, man. And people were asking, oh, man, what are we supposed to do? We supposed to address them and not, you know, you don't have to be hostile. You know, you know, I think that's part of the problem. We say this a lot on this channel, communication. We don't know how to communicate with one another, because it was removed from us. You know what I mean? Like I say, man, that sister back in the day and when chattel slavery was happening with that brother, they had a thing, they had a family, a kid. They were removed from each other. As a result, somebody else was put upon her, and they, you know, they to learn them all over again, didn't want to go through all that. So communication, I think the lines have been broken, have been broken over the years for brothers and sisters throughout the decades, man. You know, we're removed from the house, we're put in prison, we're murdered, you know, and sisters left with nobody to talk to, nobody to communicate with on a regular, somebody that she can learn to trust and depend on, shit like that. So we have a communication issue. And I think we rectify that, we correct it by just communicating, man, without any ulterior motive. You know what I mean? That's a lot of our problems too. As men, we see sisters, and rather than look at this sister not as an object, you know, but as a human being, our goddess, our queen, brothers looking at her and in mind, you know how that shit go. Think, how can I toss her? Damn, how can I impress upon her getting them draws? Sisters are aware of that shit. Sisters are pretty much aware of that shit, you know. And brothers disregard the fact that, hey man, this is a queen, a goddess. Let me address her as such. You know, let me communicate, talk with my sister. We don't do that. So yeah, communication, it go both ways. We got a lot of brothers that don't do what they're supposed to do when it comes to our women. You know, and women take that shit however they take it, which is not good, and they run with it. I'm living a life where we're in a time where I've never seen so many studs and those sisters who deal with them. This is new to me, you know, straight up. And I've been home 10 years. Beautiful black women, you know, the ones who are here, man, to bring into the world life. They're here to create, but they're doing, you know, it's crazy, man. Crazy word. Yeah. Anyway, man, James, so yeah, man, that's disgraceful, bub. I've been attacked more than a few times by pit bulls, loose or running in the streets, irresponsible owners, but I know one or two of them was strays. I got a homie had a pit bull. That damn dog was crazy. His name was Satin. And I used to fuck with Satin. You know, I ain't never been bit by no dog to this day. But Satin was a bad one, the red nose too. Big chain on, man. Satin broke that chain because I was teasing Satin a little too much. And all I knew, you better not let the dog bite you. Man, I knocked Satin out mid-flight. Satin was jumping in there, I bing, knocked it out. About a week later, I go to the homie house, hang out with him. Satin see me, just went berserk. And you run up to the gate, going out, kicking the gate. And my foot slipped, you know, the chain link gates. My foot slipped through the gate, man. And this back in the early 90s, man. I just came home. Had a pair of Bossolinos on. That motherfucker grabbed that motherfucker off my foot. And, man, to shoot that thing to shreds, man. And I'm telling you, hey, we laughed about it because, okay, that's your get back. I ain't mad at you. But, hey, man, them dogs like that, see, especially sisters don't know when dogs have collars on, that's how you control them. But you have to be forceful. You have to have a little strength. I always thought sisters had strength. They carry babies a lot. You know, I think they got strong biceps and shit. But if a dog has a collar and it's attacking you or trying to attack, find a way to grab that collar. Find a way to grab that collar. That's all you got to do for the most part till somebody comes along, the owner, hopefully, and gets this dog under control. But to stop a dog from biting you, you have to, if it has a collar, grab that collar. You know, for most people, men anyway, I'm going to knock them out. I'm going to knock them out. You going to get knocked out. Yeah, man, them dogs are dangerous, though. Folks say, man, it's a blessing no matter how you look at it. Yeah, bro. I know what you're talking about. James said, man, my point is I'm strong enough to defend myself against them dogs, but to see someone who is under the same circumstance and not doing anything to help or intervene is despicable. And that's what I said. I went in the comments, and the dude that posted the video was the dude that did the video. Now he was all kind of, cigarettes. Now, if you know UK lingo, a cigarette in the UK or Britain is called something specific. But yeah, they was a whole cigarette, man. Both of them, a whole cigarette. Anyway, I hear you, Jane. Yeah, Poke say, man, much love from me to the CPT. What it do, James? I pray all is good with you and yours. Tantra Nose say, homie, I've been putting down for 7-4. I've been putting down for 7-4 for 26 years. Who better to bless than an OG that isn't teaching self-destruction? You're a real OG in my eyes, big homie. And I appreciate that. And now here's another thing I got. You know, we know them G's, man. Them dudes was like day ones, you know what I mean? Day oneers. I don't even call myself OG bub, you know what I mean? I just don't, there's a lot to that shit, and some of it also is not always positive, you know what I mean? But that title for my OGs, and I address them as such, was had an OG such and such. I'm 61, but I know when I came up, how I came up. It's always going to be respect on my end. So I would never put myself in that category, especially when I know who these guys are. And some of them are to this day very stand-up brothers, man, positive brothers, ain't with the funnies. When they see bullshit, they call it, you know what I mean? And those are, to me, stumped down dudes, man. So, but I get what you're saying, Tantrum, love you for it, bro. Let's move on. We ain't gonna have that, I hear you, homie. Again, thank you. Appreciate you. Lisa Moore said, peace and blessings, brother James Cash. Black first. Rakufu, man. But at the end, he says, I'm gonna try one more person, a black person. And the black lady bought his CD, and his point was sell. And his point was sell and buy black. Oh, you talking about the young brother, rapper, little young brother, man, with the Gucci glass on. He went through the Jewish community, and he said, hey, well, since you guys make so much money on rap music, will you buy my CD? He did that, right? And each and every one of them just looked at him like he crazy. Why would I give you the money back? You know what I mean? First black woman he walked with, first black person was a sister he walked upon. He said, and he did it extra. He said, I'm looking for a black person, I'm a C. He said, but I got a feeling, I know it, And he saw this sister, he say, he greeted her one night. He said, I'm selling CD. Will you buy my CD? And she said, yeah, I'll buy your CD. Her first, well, yeah. She didn't say, how much is it? Yeah, I'll buy it. And you rapping her, and then she said, how much is it? Boom, gave him the money. And he was he was ecstatic, man. He was like, yeah, man, I told y'all, our people buy black, and I get that. I like that too, bro. I thought I was, that's a very popular video too, man. Very popular video. Little young brother, man. All of them down them Jewish streets, and not a one. Wouldn't even give them the time of the day. Most of them's gestures and shit were kind of off. They do shit like this. I mean, that's just weird shit to me. Almost alien-like. I don't know. But All right, Fat Rat, say peace to you and RGC, Big Bud. Right back to you, bro. Good to see you here, man. Peace, prosperity, Fat Rat, to you and the fam, bro. Chris say, Bud, people are not only separated by race, but we're also separated by knowledge. All right. Do you think that there's such a thing as, and I'm trying to include or expand upon that, people not only separated by race, but also by knowledge. Do you think also then that people are separated by, let's say, vibes, frequencies, intuition, shit like that, You think that play a part? And I'm asking because is it always knowledge that that enlightens, you know what I mean? And they say that, but could it all, I'm just curious. Certain vibes, certain levels of consciousness could also enlighten, teach, instruct, educate, I don't know. I don't know. You think that matters, But anyway, you say, Bub, not all, but people are not only separated by race, but we're also separated by knowledge and money. And again, I think, I was spot on. I don't think that I don't think that's the whole thing, and that's the whole picture. You know what I mean? We understand what money does, right? Or at least we should, knowledge. I think only to I want to say it separates us to an extent, you know what I mean? But not all knowledge is for, the prosperity or the positivity. It's not there to benefit the people. Some knowledge it's not there for that. It was there for that, but it's been taken and changed, switched up, and applied a different way. A lot of knowledge is also attained, and I'm suggesting this, through our vibes, our frequencies, you know what I mean, our intuition, you know what I mean, sometime instinctual, you know what I mean. Once something clicks and it's like, oh shit, and we retain that, you know what I mean. That instinct ain't got to kick in no more. Now we got it here, we stored the knowledge of instinct or whatever, you know what I mean. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm wondering what I'm saying makes sense though. Let me know what you think. Yeah, people are separated by a lot of things. As people are separated from us because melanin is something, you know what I mean. It's actually something everybody ain't got. And as a result of that, I think we have an advantage in terms of our melanin, and what it does for us, how it provides, also how I think it helps us to connect to the source. So that in and of itself, I think it's knowledge as well. I don't know, that's just my take on it, bro. That right, say, Pope man, what's good, my bro? Peace to you and fam. Chris said, man, every man has a price and a offer that he can't refuse. Would you bodyguard Puffy for $500,000 after all these allegations? You just did that shit a month or so ago. You asked me some shit about hey Chris, you crazy. Would I be a manservant for a cracker? Butler, manslave, whatever. And I told you, hell no, I ain't in all that. That ain't type of get down. I'm not that type of dude, man. I'm not that type of man. You know what I mean? There are certain I have certain principles, man, about myself. You know what I mean? Certain things I would not do, and that would be another, that would be another, certain morals I have, man. I have integrity actually. So, that would be a problem for me. I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself, I hope that answers your question, you say every man has a price. And I think that's part of that indoctrination that it shouldn't be that, bro. Yet it is. It exists. What you're saying has truth to it. But I don't think that's the real nature of man, especially human beings. We just caught up in the system, man, in this matrix, and for whatever reason, we've latched on. We come to trust, believe, and carry on a certain way based upon what is in place in turn, what the system is. You know what I mean? And that's how most of us function. Most of us, I would surmise, have a price. Have a price. But does that price include your integrity, your principles? You as you see yourself as a man, would you sell yourself, or would you sell out yourself for a price? So I'm very careful, with conversations like this, and people, would you then like, hey, I ain't in all that, homie. You know what I mean? And for one, I'm not in it to, so any individual can see if they could trap me in something. Like, no, homie, I'm telling you how I get out. It might be hard for a lot of people to believe, but hey, I'm telling you how I get out, I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know what I mean? So at this stage, I'm not going to, especially when we're talking about my integrity, I'm not going to second guess it. When we're talking about my dignity, I'm not going to risk it and sell it. You know what I mean? It's just me. I can't speak for nobody. I can't speak for you and whether or not you have a price. And if you do, I don't know. I you ain't lying though, Rob. Slavery is still around. It's just subtle, man. It never left. They just toned it down a notch, but it's more insidious. It's in, it exists because times have changed from what we've been taught it was to where we are now. It goes on, man, in ways, again, a lot of us can't fathom. Slavery. Slavery, is here, man. It's alive and well. Alive and well, man. And that's what they doing in Libya, though. Sad as shit, man. A lot of young brothers. Human trafficking, man. Folks say, man, fat rap playboy, what it do, playboy? When I think about you, big bro, it is of Black excellence. And I'm talking about giving flowers to those who deserve them now. Love you, bro. Hey, folks, I ain't gonna bite. I get you, though. We had that conversation about that, and I get that as well. Got you. Folks say Big Bub is representing Black excellence based on what he is providing us with on UTG. The RGC is Black excellence because their heart is in the right place to better the culture. Black Fist and Blue Love, man. Appreciate that. Yeah. Folks said I'm honored, bro. We got a lot of living to do and righteous work, a struggle for balance. Folks say true big home. The destruction of the black family was implemented in the 64 missing years of our history in chattel slavery. And Chris goes on to say the messy truth is there's a portion, the messy truth is there's a portion of black people born at the 1990s are offsprings of crack cocaine. No doubt. No doubt. You're going to say, Poke, if it's about the bag, then we don't go after it the same way the government do to own and run everything. Or is it the fate that we accepted? Robbing banks wasn't good enough. Farrah said, man, 75% of the work to resurrect our people is with the black woman. Teach a man, teach an individual, teach a woman, teach a nation. I understand why. Absolutely. She is the nation. The womb, man. The womb, man. Quinn and Zinga said, I think many black women were not looking to replace men with government. A lot of women use assistance as a survival tool because they were raising children in difficult economic conditions. Is there any more to that, Queen and Zinga? And in that respect, let me send a shout out, man, to Kimberly Mitchell, y'all. I'm just had a thought about her, man, and I'm sending that out there. That energy, that she's all right. She's able to, find a way to cope with that loss that she just suffered recently. We send our love out to you, our condolences as well. Again, take care of yourself as best you can, and hopefully, we like to think that you have the right people around you, helping you to sustain, your peace of mind and deal with the grief you might be going through. All right, so we send ours to you, man. We love you, Kim. All right, so Quinn and Zinga, you were saying, I think many black women were not looking to replace men with government. A lot of women use assistance as a survival tool because they were raising children in difficult economic conditions. Granted, I think that there's a possibility that some were, though. Some wanted to found it out. Let's just be realistic. That's a possibility. But I think more than anything, again, is as though the black woman didn't realize what had been the play that was put down. So before welfare became a thing that she needed in terms of being able to sustain a household that was now devoid of a father, before any of that occurred, the father was going through what he was going through with the system, which had maybe a year, 2, 3 before that started to remove jobs. That black men had, skilled laborers had in the area or close, in those areas, started to move them away from Los Angeles and other areas. There's that, that first strike or attack against the black family in those times, you know what I mean? Where they say, okay, we're going to move these corporations that supply jobs to black men who are taking this money and they're buying homes. They're looking for loans because they've saved enough money to buy homes. So we're gonna redline them. We're gonna make sure we don't give them the money. The banks don't give them the money. We're gonna make sure a lot of shit. But more importantly, we're gonna take these jobs from them. And we're gonna leave them unemployed. We're gonna leave them unemployed. Now, as a recourse, what we're gonna do, see, because to take the jobs from the men, then chances are they're going to take most of the jobs that women can have as well. They're only going to leave certain few, So I think they said, okay, now as a recourse, or not as a recourse, but once we take these jobs from these black men, we'll have them in a position of unemployment. They won't be able to sustain the household or do nothing. We'll come along or come behind them and say, hey, well, the government want to look out and make sure you guys aren't, falling into poverty, you know, but he must go and find a job knowing damn well they taking all the jobs out of the community. Now, she's supposed to know this because there's still a unit at that time. And he's saying, damn, he's stressing about it. He's complaining. He's saying, baby, I'm doing everything I can. You know, I'm filled out that kid. I done rode the bus for 10 miles, you know, trying to find this job that was over there and say he gave it to somebody, you know. So she's white. She should be quite aware, well aware of his circumstances. And that's what I meant by a lot of our sisters understood the play and yet still went, you know, went along with it. You know, there were some who were, you know, crafty enough to understand how to beat the system. But then there were others that, you know, saw that as an opportunity, one, to get rid of certain dudes, you know, that, you know, hey, I don't want them up around, let me them do it. And then there were others who would say, you know, hey, I love my man, y'all daddy, but got used to that money and was like, hey, man, this was coming in, this is what I'm working with. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying I think that to some extent our sisters, you know, in one way or another, kind of assisted that situation when, you know, it didn't necessarily have to. I think there were other ways or means to go about doing that. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, there were economic difficulties or difficult times again, because we have to remember they took the jobs from the brothers first. That's when they represented or presented welfare, because they knew what they had done. And I said earlier on, these people don't do shit just whimsically. They know what the fuck they're doing. They have a playbook, you know. They know exactly what they're doing. Those 300 some thousand, 600,000 sisters who just last year lost their jobs with the federal government because Trump took them and he used DEI as a measure or a means, you know, saying these sisters were unqualified when we all know Black women are the most educated people in the country, right? But it ain't just a matter of him saying or using DEI to take these jobs. It's something else going on with that. There's a bigger play at hand. So you take, and they only say 300,000. I've read where it's been 500 or better, 1,000 jobs, federal government, you know. There's something else at play there. Okay, then what's coming down the pipes? How could they use that against us? Because of course, surely you got to know they're going to use that against us. How did that affect our brothers, you know, back in the day when they did that? You know, what was the psychosis? What was the mindset? How did that, if, you know, deterioration took place, you know, a low self-esteem became a thing for them, or inferiority complexes started to exist? Do we attach that to these sisters? Over 500,000 sisters who lost their jobs. How is that going to affect them? How does that affect the household? You know? So I'm saying, man, you know, in any respect, it's something behind all this shit. It always is. They don't just do this shit to do it, you know? So let's be mindful of that. You know, that happened last year. It's almost been, well, it's been a year now, actually. I think some of the last jobs to be taken was in January of 2026. The last jobs were taken. So for some of them, it hasn't been a year yet. You know, I'm just wondering, what's the effect? What's the effect on the sister in the household? What's that created for us, man? More issues. I don't know. I'm just curious. But appreciate the comment nonetheless, Queen and Zinga. Folks say, man, continue. Where do you continue from, Pope? Okay, let me go back. If it's about the bag, then why we don't go after it the same way the government do to own and run everything? Or is it the fate? Is it the fate that we accepted? Robbing banks wasn't good enough to keep us in reach. All that did was separate us even more as prison became the death of stability. of stability. Black women are the most beautiful. That's what Poke ended with. I agree with you. Playboy Fat Rat said, listen, man, Bub, interesting. You use the word create. Creation is a function that one makes something from nothing. Making borrows from that which is in creation. So creation requires a creator. All right. James said, thank you, brother Mike Pope. Thank you, brother Pope. Likewise, I send mine to the fullest. All my love and respect to you and yours. I appreciate you. Big bro one. Peace and best wishes to you and yours. Lisa Moore, 53, nothing but all my love and respect to you, Queen. I hope everything is well with you and yours. Appreciate you. Farad said, man, Farad says, the Holy Quran says we created man from a leech like cloth. The Holy Quran says we created man from a leech like cloth. And lo, the same becomes an open disputer. Another place it says they didn't start disagreeing until after knowledge came to them. Henry Sedella, what it do, Henry? Peace and bless everyone. Salute, brother Bub. Salute right back to you, Henry. I see you, man. Ali Free, West Side. That's West LA Coco. As always, salute. I salute you, Bub. Keep pushing positive conversations, cousin. Real spit, bro. Good to see you up in here. Did I say it again? I said cuckoo. I said Coco. It's Coco, y'all. I'm tripping that. And the homie be like, man, what's wrong with you, Bub? My bad, bro. Michael Sales, DFW. All right. Peace and blessings, my beloved brother. Right back to you, Michael. Good to see you up in this Get Down with us. You already know. And if you don't, this is Under the Groove Podcast. And this is where we come to focus on the focus, man. B1 equals black first, man. That's what we own, man. We trying to figure this stuff out. Our conversations generally lead us to, certain dialogues and discussions where I'm pretty sure most of us, we've worked out solutions, if not together in our own heads, regarding what can be done and what we need to do to make this thing work for us. And it's high time that it do. It's our time now. I think that we're in this moment, Mike, where we have to take advantage of these situations. There's a shift actually happening, taking place. A lot going on in the world, y'all. And a lot of it ain't good. A lot of it is not good. But at the same time, a lot of it presents opportunities for us to get ours together. And this is what we talk about here on the Groove Podcast, taking advantage of these opportunities, taking advantage. Real spit. What's that cheer? Cheers some suspect. I'm reading it how you wrote it, loved one. Ali Free say Marcus Ali, Malcolm, Nat, Turner, George Jackson, Fred. I know you're saying Fred Hampton, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't have a price. All right. I'm take that and run with it. You know you ain't lying. Yeah. Oh man, beautiful comment right here. Michael Sales, DFW said, man, we have the illusion of inclusion. Tell the truth, man. That's part of our problem. We think we in. A lot of us actually think we in. And that would go mainly for those who tend to rub elbows with them people who got a little something, even on the low end, because I think there are levels to this get down, man, in terms of our community or black, the black community. A lot of them tend to think that they're included, that they're a part of the system, that the system has accepted them to such a point or degree to where they don't feel threatened by it. In fact, they support it so much or they support it as much as they do because they trust in it, and that's some sad stuff. That's dangerous, That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Yeah, man. We have the illusion of inclusion. That ain't me, y'all. Ali Free say, D. James say, man, a lot separates people, bub. Fear, strength, size, money, style, money. A lot of factors to keep in mind. I don't feel no good in rich neighborhoods, bro. There's absolutely no welcoming vibe. Not to me. Yeah. Michael say, yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, man. So again, man, so when we're talking about, I just think this, man. I think this because I'm pretty sure of, I'm just 61. And in 61 years, man, I've seen some shit and done some things, I've been disgraced. Been through it. I think that, man, most of what we see occurring, man, again, it's on purpose. Most of what we think to be okay, right, facts, even reality is not so. It's not so. A lot of this stuff has been designed and it's gotten better. They've learned to tweak it, make it even more beneficial to them and more detrimental to us, especially consciously. I think that's where our problem. Michael just said we have the illusion of inclusion. That's some psychics. That's some psychosis shit, man. That's our minds, man, being worked over, man, being confused, conditioned, brainwashed or indoctrinated. We're in a time, man, where it's impossible to. Well, you would think it would be impossible for people to not see what's really going on. You would think that they'd have to be blind, and the more you think that, the more you come to realize that, oh shit, they are, you kind of realize like, oh shit, I was, 61 years, man. And it took me at least 50, to get it right. I don't know if that's a lot of time, man. You know what I mean? To get it right, It's all an illusion, man. Most of it anyway. Especially when it comes to us, man, and what we think we got going for us or how people see us. And sometimes we're fooling ourselves, man, when we think that, for instance, something we can't do. Think about that. A lot of us tend to think that we can't do this, that, and the third, bub. You crazy. Why are you thinking like that? What helped to perpetuate that thought, make that thought stand out like that in your brain? What is it in your head that would make you disregard and not consider what others that have been through, who came before you, who, again, and I said this earlier, have been through some shit, man. A lot of us say, well, I've been dead, man, a day ago, or, went through it, made it through it, and still made shit happen. Dire times. in a system that was blatantly racist, saying, man, y'all can't get shit. You can tell me where they got that shit from, man. How they got it. How did they do it? Built banks, built schools, built hospitals, businesses, newspapers, magazines, communities, families after slavery. And we over here, we be talking about, hey, man, I can't do that shit. That's your boy, you have for a lot. We kind of, hey, man, we going through some shit, man. We think we've been through some shit, and really we haven't. But we allow our minds, or we allow things, man, to affect how we think. And I mean that literally. Literally, we allow things to affect how we think, to determine whether or not we can accomplish something, you know, be successful at it or not, you know. We, you know, numbers been done on us, but I say, man, in spite of all that, I really trust in my core we have the wherewithal, man, to beat back all that. To beat back all that. I often think that, damn, man, here I am at this age, and you know, well, actually, I've been thinking the way I've been thinking, yeah, for about a good 10 years now. You know, I mean, like 9 years, just really into it like that. But the thoughts, you know, in terms of how I changed the direction my life was going in happened before that, before my release. But still, man, that's a lot of time being under that spell. And that's what I'm speaking to, man. We're under this spell, man, to where we don't think that we can think to the point where we can outthink those who think they got us. You know what I mean? You get that? Whatever we set our mind to, we can do. We can accomplish everything, man, that we've been told we've never done before, or our people, our ancestors have never done before anyway. That's in us to do. That's in us to do. We just have to get rid of these inferiority complexes. We have to get rid of this wanting to assimilate complex. We have to get rid of all these, you know, these thoughts, these make-believe ideas we have in our heads that have been put in our heads so that we can get to the real business at hand. Until we do that, man, we're gonna be sitting up, man, you know, going through the same shit. The same shit. And it's sad to think that we don't get respect, or people, other demographics don't respect us, because we haven't massacred millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, because we haven't enslaved anybody, because we don't, you know, eat kids and whatever, you know, we haven't done all the shit that those in power have done to get to the power they have, you know. So we ain't shit, you know. And if we allow people to convince us of that, then we'll never amount to what the ancestors set in place for us in terms of accomplishment. We won't get there. We've been allowing ourselves, man, to be distracted by bullshit. I mean, complete, utter bullshit. I mean, a lot of it is strong, don't get me wrong. The drugs, that's strong. The alcohol, that's strong. You know, and a few other things, you know, but we've allowed this shit for the most part. And that's no one's fault, man. You know, that's on us. That's on us. That's on us. So whenever we decide, man, to break away, man, you know, reconnect with our sisters, you know, and show love and respect to our sisters as well as our brothers, you know, to hold each other to a certain standard of love, respect, man, we're going to be going through this shit, you know, and we're going to continue to have people, you know, bombarding us with bullshit all the time to keep us distracted. And again, it's like everybody know better than us what we're capable of. And so everybody's attack is designed to distract us. from reaching, from attaining, rising, you know, ascending to that position. It's that simple, I think. You know, it's that simple, I think. You know. You know. We in this thing, man, for a reason. This, you know, I trust that most things happen for a reason, but we have to be at the helm of figuring out, directing, or finding out, getting to what that reason is. That's our work. That's our work. It ain't nobody else's, because no one else is going to do it, you know? So we got to figure this stuff out, man. This is on us. It ain't nobody else. Nobody else. Real spit. A lot of factors. The only factor, y'all, is what we allow ourselves to, you know, to go for, to fall for. That's the factor that counts. Farah said, man, I want to acknowledge the passing away of Mother Khadija Farrakhan, 90 years of age, married to Minister Farrakhan for 72 years. A faithful mother who gave an example that is a standard bearer. Our condolences goes out to Mother Farrakhan for sure. Chris said, you can't underestimate yourself. But that's the gimmick, right? That's the play, right? That's the play that they hope works. You know, that they put work in to work. You know what I mean? That's the play. To get us to underestimate ourselves, to think inferiorly, you know, to be inferior even in our thoughts, our own minds. That's the play. And I'm telling you, man, I got this vibe, it's in me, like, all we got to do is look at that in the face and be like, shit, man, what? Yeah. I've been underestimated many times. And all we got to do is attach that experience that we've had where we've been underestimated and just walked away smiling, did the damn thing. We have history, man. We got people, again, that have been through some shit, man. None of us in our lifetimes will experience or have to deal with. They had their shit piled this high on their plates. Look what they did. You know what I mean? From under chattel slavery, man, Reconstruction, and Jim Crow. Look what they did. What we're going through, in a lot of respects, don't even compare. It just does not. Do you understand the psychological strength and spiritual that was required, man, to just say, man? And that don't go just for our brothers and sisters who built all those Black Wall Streets. That goes for brothers and sisters who didn't have it like that, was walking up dirt roads in old dusty ass, you know, tattered overalls with no shoes. The mental gymnastics they had to go through just to survive in a day. Shit. And we on there, I'm saying, man. We talking about, oh man, yeah, brothers and sisters got rounded up for pimping on Fed. You can tell me that ain't crazy shit. That ain't crazy shit. Brothers and sisters, you know, oh, somebody got shot up. Tell me that ain't crazy shit. For a fact, I know it is. And we ain't been up against nothing, man. We ain't been up against nothing, man, to where we need to be, or where we are tripping or underestimating ourselves, or even worried about somebody else underestimating us. We have every indication that we have this, I think, gifts, skills, blessings, to do what the hell we need to do. And opportunity. We have opportunities they never had back then. And yet, look what they did, man. Now compare that to this. Put them, let's change places. We be goners. We be dead doorknob back then. We wouldn't have did none of what they did. Now put them up here, and guess what? Them motherfuckers be running the country right now. Them brothers and sisters will be running the country right now. You do a time warp, a time exchange, and you bring them brothers and sisters from that time, period, coming out of chattel slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and you place them right here, right now where we are. You take us and let's put us over there. They not worried about being underestimated, man. Not even a little bit. They not worried about none of that. I'm pretty sure of it. Now, us, on the other hand, we might have a little problem there, bro. We might have a little problem, bro. We go, oh, my God. They be back there chewing on their hay and spitting at their chew. Them darkies over there. We ain't got to do nothing. We ain't got, matter of fact, Billy Bob gone, man. We ain't got to be in a month. Give them a month. They be all dead. And them people here right now be looking at our people right now and be like, oh, shit. Damn, we're done. Think about that shit, man. Nah. So we got to get out of that mindset where we're underestimating ourselves. You know what I mean? Real shit. I know that takes a lot of effort, man. A lot of willpower, but it's doable. It's doable, man. I don't know. But can you imagine our ancestors who ran all them Black Wall Streets right here, right now, 2026? Man, they be running the damn thing, y'all. And they be saying, I don't know what was wrong with our people back then, why they couldn't shoot, I don't know. All right, man. I'm gonna let this thing do what it do, y'all. Real shit, man. Let it do what it do, brothers and sisters, our kings and queens, man. It's all love regardless, all right? It's all love. That's what it should be. As always, love yourself so you can love that brother and sister that needs that love. A lot of us don't know we need love. A lot of us look for love, don't get it. Love yourself so you know what to do with that, all right? Take care of yourself so you learn to take care of one another. You'll know how to give support to our brothers and sisters who might need it. That being said, power is in the people. Power is in the people. You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. Be one. Black first, y'all. One love.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hurston, writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transformed suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant is once a less than. Actors, hats, and Mercedes. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive, but to the applause. for bones. Need your data, talks and constantly problem when the wet just wanna build the season big. Now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times, pleading walking soft the main. Making on the fans, turning neck and love the durn. Suffers like a kisher. You were wrong to preaching up on side is each alone, bitch on the shit and untrue seeing vet someone the very inch on Gary Land. Be hell heaven, you see what the bound of it. You wait something for the marker rate to keep him full the club that's on the boards to the singer land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break your channel, resi more than he and let the peasant be. It's every time we keep a spawn.